everyone, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are continuing the Zeppelin series. Oh boy, I fucked that up. Run it back. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are continuing the Led Zeppelin series. We are now on Presence. This is the second to last Zeppelin album. We are in the final stretch here before we're done with this series. I'm a little worried going into this one. This album is where the reception of the band's music starts to take a bit of a nosedive. Physical Graffiti is one of their absolute best received albums. I think it's like tied with Zeppelin 4 as the one that people love the most. And then this album is seemingly, according to most people, a disappointment amongst a lot of fans. 58 critic score and a 69 user score on Album of the Year. Compare that to Physical Graffiti, which has 87 critic and 87 user. That is a crazy downgrade for a band of Zeppelin stature. Listen, I'm going into this album wanting to like it. I'm going into this album expecting it to still be at the very least decent because... and this is going to disappoint some people. I've already heard Achilles' Last Stand, okay? I know that song is... it's probably my favorite Zeppelin song, and the fact that that's on this album gives me hope. Yeah, sorry that I've already heard that track. You don't get to see the mind-blown first reaction, but I don't think I've heard anything else off of this album, at least. But yeah, this album came out 1976. 7 tracks, 44 minutes. It's in line with the rest of their discography at around 40 minutes. Okay. Let's just get this shit started. Track 1, I've already heard this song. It's a masterpiece. It's very good. Achilles' Last Stand. Yeah? I imagine that's going to be the case. God damn, dude. Oh, absolutely. This is probably Bonham's, out of the Zeppelin songs that I've heard up to this point, this is Bonham's best drum track, easily. The song feels like Immigrant Song, but like 5 times the length. The way this shit is galloping, it feels so similar, but honestly, even better. You know, I say this is one of Bonham's best drum tracks. I also think this is one of Robert Plant's best songs vocally as well. This song really is every single best aspect of the band being merged into a 10.5 minute track. This song is... the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of like locking in that this is my favorite Zeppelin song. I am shocked that a song like this exists. It's like mind-blowing that this exists. This is like... among the greatest, like, songs of all time. This is, like, that caliber. It's that good. The band was not in a good place when they recorded this album. Robert recorded it while he was in a wheelchair due to a serious accident. Even with all the problems, they delivered a great work. Yeah, the fact... I didn't even know that context of Robert being in a wheelchair. And the fact that they are in such a bad place and they're even putting out a song this good, what I believe to be their best song, is mind-blowing. You know what, chat? Listen, and don't complain about me pausing and talking in the comments. I've heard this shit before. It doesn't matter. Have you guys seen the Drumeo video? Where they got 66 Samus to play this song. It's so good. Yeah, metal drummer hears Led Zeppelin for the first time. And the way he did it, this is so fucking cool. The way he did it was, because it's a 10-minute track, he recorded vocal, like, cues that would be, like, 3 or 4 bars before when a switch-up is. And that would tell him what is in the next section. And he has, in one take, nailed this song, no mistakes, nothing. And... I'm going to say something a bit controversial here. I like 66 Samus's parts better than Bonham's parts on this song. They're similar, but I think he does some cooler shit. And I'm going to get flamed for that in the comments, but 66 Samus does do a couple of things, a couple of fills, the way he plays around with like ghost notes and stuff. I prefer it a little bit. 66 Samus is like one of the best drum YouTubers, by the way. I think another thing that makes this song work so well is how grand and massive the scope of the lyrics are. He's, you know, talking about going on this great adventure, sailing off into the distance, the mighty arms of Atlas holding the earth together. I like when Zeppelin go fantasy. And they're going very fantasy on this song. And I think that having that be the kickoff for this album in a 10.5-minute song is it's easily like the best way any of their albums have opened. Amazing bass tone as well. Oh, really? 14 overdubs in one night, damn. You think this song is a bit long? That's what Brad Tasted Music said when I sent this in his free request stream. And I disagree. I love the way they constantly go in and out of halftime on this song. So cool. Okay, this bit's intense. Jimmy Page or Jimi Hendrix? Probably Hendrix? That's close though, Jimmy Page is amazing as well. The cymbals on this song are insane. They're so loud. Yeah, you can have 2-2 and 1-1 in terms of time signatures. 2-2 is just when your bar is only 2 beats, and then 1-1 is your bar is just 1 beat. And yeah, 3-4 as well. Yeah. So you don't know about best song ever? I don't think it's the best song ever, but I do think it's the best Led Zeppelin song, for me. Yeah, 3-4 as well is time, yeah. Yeah, that song does in fact fly by. That's 10.5 minutes of Zeppelin coming off of Physical Graffiti, being like, you thought Physical Graffiti was good, this song's better. Hell of a statement to kick an album off with. Yeah, firstly, it goes without saying that that song is a 10. For me, I think that that is the best Zeppelin opener. I think it's the best Zeppelin song. I think that this track is the best display of the band's technical proficiency and songwriting prowess. They are able to have so many impressive parts, great fills from Bonham, amazing bass lines throughout this track from John Paul Jones, and some of Jimmy Page's best guitaring, and even some of Robert Plant's best singing as well. But it's also such a well-written song. The structure of this track is fascinating, the way it bounces back and forth between the halftime sections before it goes into that 10-8 marching section as well, the way that comes in and out of the song. Some of their grandest, most broad, sweeping lyrics, talking about going on an adventure. The mighty arms of Atlas holding the heavens from the earth. Like, this song is as fantasy as, again, just grand, sort of like an epic tale as the band gets. And it's one of my favorite songs of theirs in terms of the writing. It's so cool. If I were to pick a Zeppelin song that would be a contender for greatest song of all time, it would be this. I don't think this is the greatest song of all time, but if I had to pick a Zeppelin song, it would be this one. I don't think they can top this. I've not heard any of the other songs from this album, and I don't think I've heard anything off of In Through the Outdoor, but I don't see them topping this. And I want to say, again, if you haven't seen that Drumeo video of 6'6 Samus playing this song, hearing it for the first time and then playing it, you should watch it. That is probably my favorite. It's a contender for my favorite Drumeo, giving someone a song for the first time. Okay, now we have the rest of the album. I've not heard any of the rest of this. I am worried, I'm nervous, but I have high hopes. I pray to the high heavens that they are able to put together a good project. All zeros now? Exactly. I'm not going to do Coda. No, I'm not going to do Coda. I'm just going to finish on In Through the Outdoor and just do their mainline studio albums. Next up we have For Your Life. Damn, that bass sounds amazing here. Incredible instrumental. These vocals fucking suck. I'm sorry. These vocals are bad. And listen, I know the circumstances of Robert Plant being in a wheelchair, so that's obviously going to make it harder to sing, but wow. Yikes. This is... Damn. I think it's another big factor is the way the vocals are mixed here. They feel a little buried at points, and like they're sort of moving in and out of the forefront of the mix. Like, that transition to that next section was a little awkward. Okay, he's being ironic and critical about the whole drug culture in bands, baby drowning in drugs at the time. Yeah, a lesser retread of previous ideas. Okay, guitar solo. Yeah, there is part of me that's wondering why this final third of the song is here. It just doesn't feel all that necessary to the track. The fuck was that? What? Fake noise is supposed to represent the snorting of cocaine. Do you not just make a sniffing sound instead? Okay, I'm gonna start with the positives. That song isn't bad. That is the biggest thing. Despite the fact that I was very unimpressed, that song's not bad. It's just, you get Achilles' Last Stand, and then this. These songs don't fit back to back. They just have an Achilles' Last Stand, which is this massive, sweeping, just truly epic track. And then this song that feels so, I don't know, you're going from a full, like, galloping on a horse on the previous song to now grind into a screeching halt and moving at a crawling pace on this one. The flow really just is not there. It just feels like we've just jumped into a completely different album on this track. The instrumental, for the most part, is really good. I think that how heavy the bass is on this song is incredible. The bass is easily the standout here. There's some cool guitar stuff going on as well. I think that the solo is pretty solid. But man, you get to like that final third and it really just wears on me. It does not feel like this song needed the extra 2.5 minutes. And there was an exact point around the 4-minute mark where in my head I was like, the song could have ended just there. And it would have been really satisfying, but we're still going, and we have 2.5 more minutes. Those last 2.5 minutes really do hurt it for me. There's also the fact that I'm not too crazy on the vocals on this song. At the beginning, I hated them. I thought they sounded horrendous. But as the track went on, they grew on me a little bit. I could kind of see what Robert Plant was going for. But I still just didn't think they were all that good, or that they fit the song particularly well, especially in the lines in the verses where he sort of just speed runs his way through a line. I really just didn't like that style of singing that he was going for. This song is a solid to a high 6. It's like a 6.6, 6.7 for me. It's still in the positive. It's still in the green, but I'm very mixed positive on this one. I think that there is an incredible song here. It just needs some tightening up, needs some better vocals, and I think the instrumental needs to progress a little bit more than it does in a way that sort of keeps it feeling fresh front to back. Listen, the album, I still have hope for the rest of this album, okay? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, album's ruined, okay? The song is still in the green. Were I to give this album a score based on just these first 2 songs, it would still be an 8. So, we continue. Royal Orleans. It's kind of felt like disco influenced drums there. The 16th notes with the floor on the 4, 4 on the 4, 4 on the floor kick pattern. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Yeah, that drum thing that was going on there, that kind of felt a little disco inspired. That was pretty cool. Actually, now that I'm hearing what the guitars are doing as well, that whole song kind of feels a little disco inspired. It's very funky indeed. Nice. There's some cool percussion in here. Okay. Having just like a nice little, 3-minute, just fun little song in here is actually very refreshing coming after how massive the previous two songs were at 10.5 and 6.5 minutes. There is a part of me that honestly kind of wishes this came after Achilles' Last Stand instead of For Your Life. This song kind of feels like a good middle ground for the two songs in terms of pacing, because For Your Life is so slow and Achilles' Last Stand moves so fast. Having this song as a bridge between the two would have made a lot more sense, and I think would have made the flow of this a lot stronger. I would give this song like an 8, I think. It's not the most mind-blowing thing on the planet. It isn't like the strongest Zeppelin song or anything like that. But would I come back to this? Yes, I would. As just a fun 3-minute song of the band kind of just feels like they're doing a funky jamming session. I like it. It's pretty solid. I would definitely see myself coming back to that. Up next we have Nobody's Fault But Mine. The bass tones are the best they've been on the whole album, in the whole Zeppelin discography on this album. Nice. The guitar and the bass matching each other there, that's great. What the hell was that? I'll get the harmonica in there, of course. Actually, is that harmonica or is that a guitar with an effect? This could have been on Zeppelin too. It does kind of feel like it could have been on there, yeah. Especially with how heavy and thick a lot of this sounds. It is harmonica? Okay, cool. One problem I do have with this song, I don't like how the band just constantly keeps stopping. The stopping and starting is really killing the pace of this song. It was fine to have it once or twice at the beginning, but the fact that they've overdone it so many times is just like, it feels like someone doing a magic trick, but they keep doing the same one over and over and over again, and you're just like, do something else. Nobody's fault but mine. The way the drums and the bass kind of slip into the same rhythm as the guitar and the vocals there is pretty cool. It was another, honestly, surprisingly pretty great song. I'm gonna get my one problem with that song out of the way, and it's just the constant stopping. It's like, you see in like videos like people on holiday and they go to get an ice cream, and then the guy just keeps like taking the cone out of their hand, putting ice cream in it, lifting it out of their hand, and like flipping it about and shit. This song feels like that at certain points where it's like, you're moving with it, the song's moving at such a great pace, and it just suddenly stops. And it's like, wait, okay, now you can go back in, and it's like, okay, it's cool that you did it like once or twice in the beginning, but it got kind of like, it felt like someone telling the same joke over and over again. But the rest of the song is pretty fucking fantastic. I think that this song has some of the best flow and pacing out of any song on the album up to this point, besides Achilles' Last Stand. This song, it really does feel like it's just consistently marching at such a satisfying pace, and I think that's something Led Zeppelin do very well, is finding just the right like pace to move the song at, and this is a perfect example of that. Another big thing that I'm picking out so far is that the bass on this album is the best it's sounded on any Zeppelin album. It is so thick, it's so heavy, it's so punchy. This is easily the best the bass has sounded on any of their albums. It's so good. The pause is there to keep your attention. It kind of loses my attention a little bit. Again, it's fine to do it once or twice, because it is something cool to kind of add a bit of a change in the movement. But to have it happen so many times, I thought I liked the use of space, and so that's not what space is. I'm talking space. When I say that, I mean space in terms of a mix. When they're able to create a mix that sounds like a big hole in the earth. That's what I mean by space. I don't mean space as in like a sudden pause. So listen, you're making a big deal out of one problem I have with an otherwise great song. This is the second best on the album so far. It's an 8.4 for me. I don't like the pauses, but everything else sounds great. Pacing's fantastic. I think that Robert Plant's vocals on this are good. Someone said they didn't like the vocals. I disagree with that. Has some of the coolest shit going on with the drums, guitar, and bass on the entire album as well. I feel like every single band member had one moment where they sort of got to shine on that track, and that was pretty cool. Next song is trash. You should just skip it. If I skipped every bad song for the sake of giving an album a better score, that would be the most bullshit way of doing a reaction possible. Okay, we are not skipping. Next up, Candy Store Rock. Did I say doing a reacting? I meant to say doing a reaction. Excuse me? What the fuck is this? They're doing like an Elvis thing with the most unbalanced mix ever. What the hell is this? Candy Store Rock is so fun. It's like an acidic Elvis song. If it's acidic, then it's like the worst acid trip ever. What? Acoustic guitar on the right is adding a nice bit of texture, I guess. Yeah, I agree with this. Sounds like a jam song that made it to tape. The song is really like rhythmically unsatisfying as well. It's never really able to find its footing at any point in the song. Yeah, that is the weakest one on the album for me up to this point. This is... I think this might be the first Zeppelin song that I can say I dislike. Songs are like a low 4 for me, like a 4.3, 4.4. That didn't work for me at all. That song just rhythmically was the most unsatisfying thing imaginable. Constantly tripping over itself, constantly stumbling, and never able to find its footing at any point. The Elvis thing that Robert Plant's going for just simply doesn't work here at all. It feels like he's overdoing it and sort of becoming a caricature of Elvis instead of sort of, you know, trying to channel a similar energy to him. The mixing on this song is atrocious as well. There is no balance here. The bass and the vocals feel like they're fighting to be on top of the mix. The guitar is way too buried, and I think the drums just sound so... The drums just sound clunky as hell. They feel like... They sound like fucking pots and pans falling over on this song, dude. They really lost every sense of balance on this, and I don't think this song was really able to recover at any point. That is definitely the weakest Zeppelin song I've heard up to this point, by a very good margin as well. Yeah, that one's rough. Next up we have Hot Song for Nowhere. Swearing in my Led Zeppelin song? I'm not too crazy on this chorus, but that verse was great. That verse did a great job of portraying a very strong sense of anger. He actually was... It felt like he was almost playing a character there. Just this guy who was completely fed up. This chorus sucks, though. This la 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 bullshit, I hate this. Guitar solo's a little boring. Yeah, that guitar solo didn't really feel like it added anything to the song. It just kind of felt like an inclusion for the sake of having it there. The song had some of the strongest aspects of the album and some of the weakest up to this point. I think the highs do far outweigh the lows, but it still ended up being a decently mixed bag for me. I'll start with the positives I have, and it's that song has some of the best flow out of any song on the album up to this point. I love the swing that John Bonham brings to that track. I like the way the song sort of moves in and out of the different sections, and the pacing, besides the fact that I think the song is a little long, is pretty fantastic. I think this is one of the best tracks in terms of Bonham's drumming as well. He is given a lot more to do here than he has been on the past couple of tracks. And also the bass line on this one is pretty funky as well. But I do have my gripes with this track. It's too long. I do not think this song needed to be nearly 5 minutes. It felt like this could have been tightened up by probably about a minute, because it felt like that entire outro section was just so unnecessary and didn't really add anything. I thought that the guitar solo that they had on that track as well just didn't bring anything to the table. It just sort of felt like an inclusion for the sake of having it in there. And on top of all that, you just have one of the worst choruses on any Zeppelin song. Just that la 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 bullshit that just, it sounds so... It just sounds so out of place. It doesn't feel like it fits in on this album or on this song. It feels like the band didn't know what to do for the chorus, so it was literally just Robert Plant just vocalizing a melody into the mic and the band playing along with it. I would give this song a high... this one's like another solid to high 6. This one's, again, like a 6.7, 6.8. It's still in the green. I would still go positive on this song, but it's definitely one of the weaker songs, not only on this album, but out of Zeppelin's entire discography up to this point. It feels like a bit of a cluttered mess with too much stuff that doesn't need to be in there. But the highs on that song are very high, and they do far outweigh the lows. Yeah, performances on the whole were great. Some really nice flow and movement on that song. Just a couple of unnecessary things that do bring it down for me. We're on the final song. I don't know, I've been recording for an hour, but it feels like this album's fucking flown by. Final track, T for One. This track's starting out very strong here. Doing a great job at building up some tension here. 24 hours seems to slip into days. This is a very strong way to close this album. I do think the song... Just as I was about to say, I think it needs to switch up. Man, this song has so much empty space, and then the bass just fills all of it up. It's kind of crazy that the album starts and ends on its strongest notes. You have the same issue with this song as you have with Welcome to the Black Parade. The verse riff is only there for a few seconds. Yeah, but Welcome to the Black Parade is like a perfect song. T for One, a genuinely incredible closer to this album. I don't have a whole lot to say about the song. It's just a great display of subtlety from the band. There is just massive cavernous space in this track. They don't fill it up with overdubs. It doesn't feel like the song is all that crowded. It is just so, like, stripped back, so subtle, and it feels like a genuinely fitting way to end off this album. I like that they go for something longer to close it off, having this 9.5 minute slow down swingy song that just is meant to just let you get lost in it, as opposed to move along with these heavy aggressive riffs. I think that this track is like one of the best examples of Zeppelin doing a slower song like this. Yeah, I don't know, this song just doesn't have a whole lot to talk about. It's just nice, slow, buttery smooth. It's such an easy song to just, again, get completely lost in and just soak in everything that's happening. I think that the explosive moment around the middle of this track does sort of provide a nice, I guess, split down the middle, a nice mark of it feels like a Zeppelin watermark being put on the song, them kind of reminding you that they can, you know, like, look, with a big loud band. But it doesn't feel like it's in there for no reason. It actually does sort of serve a purpose in this song, and it does fit pretty well. So I like that inclusion a lot as well. Yeah, I think that this song overall is just a great closer. Easily, like, the best way I could ask for this album to end off. I'm feeling a solid 9 on this song, like a 9.4, 9.5. It's really fantastic, and this album seriously does start and end on its strongest notes. And that was Presence. This is a very interesting album. I will say I agree with most people that this is their weakest album up to this point. I think that the highs on this album are some of the band's highest. I think Achilles' Last Stand is the highest point in the band's discography up to this point. But also it has the lowest lows. I think that the mixes on this album are incredibly inconsistent. I think that the performances and the balancing of the band's performances does get a little bit shaky at a lot of points throughout here. I think that the flow of this album is disastrous, as none of these songs feel like they should be going in the order that they are, besides Achilles' Last Stand being first and T for One being last. It just kind of feels like a sandwich with just completely randomized ingredients in there. Some of them working really well and others not. The songs that hit really do hit hard, though. I genuinely think that when there is a great track on this album, it is just as good as like anything on their previous albums. But the low points on this feel like lows that Zeppelin just shouldn't have for a band that is as incredible, as forward-thinking, as just genius in terms of their songwriting as they are. This album feels like a regression. And again, that is probably mostly due to the context of where the band was at the time. And to be honest, with that context, I am impressed that they put out something that is even on the level of quality as this. They were able to get Achilles' Last Stand out of this album. That's their best song, in my opinion. I think that this album has 4 genuinely great tracks, and the highs do far outweigh the lows. So the fact that the band were at such a low point creating this, and they were still able to get something that is this overall enjoyable, is more than impressive. And it just goes to show that Zeppelin, you know, for as much shit as I get for saying a lot of bands that I listen to, they're not the greatest band of all time. Zeppelin are genuinely, I think, one of the greatest rock bands of all time, one of the most consistent. And even their worst album, up to this point at least, is still not bad. I would still even go as far as to say this is a genuinely good album. And I imagine re-listening to this, it may even grow on me a bit. But yeah, definitely their weakest up to this point, and it has me very worried for where we're going to be ending off with In Through the Outdoor. I am going to add up my scores, and then I will tell you what my overall score for this album is. I am feeling a 7.6 out of 10 on this album. It's good. It's a good album. But it's the first Zeppelin album that I can't say is great. I feel like it's just a little too inconsistent, it's a little too rocky, and the lows on this album are just so unfortunate. But that does, again, still a 7, that's still in the green. I still think Zeppelin are handily the most consistent band that I have covered on this channel. Every single one of their albums is at the bare minimum good. And I still have 4 songs that I'm going to be coming back to regularly off of this, particularly Achilles' Last Stand and T for One. So yeah, album's still good. it's still not by it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Just Zeppelin's weakest up to this point, in my opinion, and it's got to be one of them. So I should power through the outdoor today. Yeah, I'm probably going to. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below. How does it compare to other Zeppelin albums for you? Do you agree with the fans that it's their weakest, or do you think it's one of their strongest? Let me know what other albums you'd like to see me listen to in the future down below. Links in the description to my Discord, my album of the year, my other channels, and my Twitter. Check those out if you haven't. Like and sub if you haven't as well. We are on our way to 2K, and I will see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye bye.